Well, welcome to Port Orford. Here we are, about 3/4 of the way down the Oregon coast on our way to California. Now, tonight, when we get into Port Orford, we had dinner at Mr. Ed's Espresso Juice and Underground Pub. And that's where the music is that you just heard. And we were there for dinner tonight, largely because that's about the only place that's open in Port Orford for food
There
on
was
a Tuesday
nothing
night.
open on a Tuesday night in Port Orford. I don't know how many people live here, but Ed's was a great choice anyways. So
Yeah, so the guitarist, I believe, he's the actual Mr. Ed. He and his two colleagues there were just jamming away there, preparing for a session, I guess, later on in the week. And they let us shoot some video while we were eating our pizza and our wrap and just kind of relaxing after a day's ride. But it's been a few days, so let's get you caught up here. Um, we were in Portland. Last you heard from us, we were in at Steve's place. We traveled from his place down to Portland. And as we were coming into Portland, we stopped to visit the headquarters for International Children's Care. And we met with Rick and his team there and talked to them about partnering with them to support their orphanages. And Rick was receptive to that. And so our very first project, I'm happy to announce, is going to be in Baja, Mexico, just outside Ensenada. And that is one of International Children's Care's projects. And so we'll be tackling that project around the first week of June or so. Stay tuned. We're still flexing in our schedule. But after that, we went and we enjoyed a little bit of Portland. Of course, we went to Powells Books. How can you not? That was a very dangerous place to go because you could spend a lot of time and a lot of money. At least I could.
the biggest bookstore I've ever been into in my life. I love books, and I could have filled up my pannies in a heartbeat. But it was, it was a cool place to be. Someday I'd like to go back there when I can actually buy some books.
Oh man, tons and tons of
Yeah.
books. Yes. We got a chance to see Mill Ends Park. Mill Ends Park is recognized by Guinness as the smallest city park in the world. And it consists of one shrub and about 2 feet by 2 feet
Yeah,
of dirt
2 feet square.
and an island in the middle of the road. That was kind of neat to see. And then, of course, you can't go to Portland without
Going to Voodoo Donuts.
Voodoo Donuts. Standing in line at Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah.
Man alive, there was a line. But they had some tasty treats, and we certainly won't be eating like that all the time. But Voodoo Donuts has a reputation that precedes itself, so we figured we'd go and give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We left Portland and headed on to the coastal town of Astoria. And I want to give a big shout out to Siobhan and Randy. Thank you very much for the tip to go and check out the Astoria Tower. 164 steps later, we're at the top of this tower, and you can fly, or at least attempt to fly, these balsa wood planes off the tower.
The idea is that we have balsa wood planes, and we are going to send it off and see how far it will go.
All
So
right.
here we go. Yeah.
Ooh, it's a fast one. He's a fighter jet.
Yeah, that was crash and burn.
Well, not yet.
So that one didn't go so far. I'm gonna try mine. Is yours still flying, Michael?
Spiraling down.
I'm spiraling down. Oh well.
Death wobble.
There we go. Okay. Michael, let me try mine. I'm still recording here.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's
see
see
if
how
we can
well
send
yours
that.
goes.
I can catch a breeze here, so here we go.
Oh my god, I think mine is gonna be.
Don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go get it, and then.
Oh, no, there it goes.
Up, launch it again. Yeah.
There are like 5 there waiting for us.
Okay, Dylan, your turn.
Oh, we can run over it when we leave.
No.
Still go.
Oh.
Gonk.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where'd I go? It's soaring.
Oh, that one's going good again.
Man, these kids know how to do it. Look at that sucker go.
They do.
Wow.
Oh, crashed and burned. Yeah. But we tried it.
It was fun.
And that was still kind of neat. The Astoria is a neat little town. We carried on just outside of Astoria is the Fort Clatsop National Historic Park. Fort Clatsop is where Lewis and Clark the famous explorers back in 1804 to 1806. They were sent west by the president of the day, the U.S. president of the day, to go and explore what could be found. And so they spent 2 years traveling out and back. And they wintered over in Fort Clatsop. And although the fort itself is gone, they had what they consider to be a fairly accurate recreation of the fort there. So you can see what the conditions were when they spent 4 months wintering there. Now, this place was of particular interest to us because we enjoy playing board games. And one of the board games we like to play is Lewis and Clark, which captures the essence of their journey from well back east out to ultimately Fort Clatsop. And the first player to get to Fort Clatsop wins the game. So they didn't have the game in the gift shop. But that's okay. We got a chance to see it for ourselves. And then we left Astoria. And do you remember what it was like when we left Astoria?
Didn't it start to rain or something?
Oh, man. It rained. Now, okay, it wasn't crazy heavy rain.
It was manageable.
But it was steady rain pretty much all day long. There were a few breaks.
We stopped at the Tillamook Cheese factory, I think it's called, and I'd brought my kids there like 15 or 16 years ago, and I really wanted to go back again. And it's a really neat production on how they make cheese. Really enjoyed that. So Tillamook Cheese for the win.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool because they had viewing galleries over top of the entire factory floor. So you could see the vats where the milk was being treated to separate the curds from the whey, and the cheddaring machine, the Cheddar Master 6000 or whatever they called it, how it folded the curds and all of that, and they added the salt and then compressed it and squeezed it into these 40-pound blocks and then vacuum sealed it and boxed it and sent it off for cold storage, which I didn't know, but now I know. Takes anywhere from, do you remember the date times?
6 months to 5 years to age.
2 months for the youngest stuff, I think it was.
I'm off. I don't know.
2 months
don't
to
ask
5
me these
years.
Questions.
Put you on the spot. And so that was one part. And then the other part of the factory is we saw the aged stuff come in, go through the slicers and get bagged and put into either little 2-pound blocks or 10-pound blocks, packaged and shipped off.
And you get a little sample. You get to try cheese curds, which are really yummy. It's like little pieces of cheddar cheese. And then, I don't know, there's like a bunch of different flavors of their little cheddar packs. So I left with a few. Michael's not quite as tempted as I am by cheese. It was fun. It was a good stop. And part of it was getting out of the rain. And we were kind of encouraged. We stepped out of that and we looked around and thought, okay, this rains. It's kind of light. It's not too bad. And we got on the road and, oh man, did it rain.
And so we had about 2 hours from the Tillamook Creamery to get to our next destination. And Angela adroitly suggested that we stop at about the halfway mark at a popular chain coffee shop, if you will.
Yes, it starts with an S and ends with an S. We were in Lincoln City, and it was just, I picked a place that was halfway between because I thought, this is miserable. And I know that life on the road, this is going to happen. It's, we can't always have the greatest of weather, and we can't always pick our route. We knew we had to head south. So yeah, we stopped in this coffee place, and it was really neat.
Yeah, we walked in, and we hadn't even got a chance to sit down, and this theme is repeating itself over and over again. This older couple, can I say they're older?
They're not much older than us, but a little bit older. We're old, so
okay.
That's fine.
Contemporaneously aged to us. We're sitting at a table, and they noticed us come in, and they engaged us in conversation. And this is Gary and Mary Beth, and we enjoyed a wonderful conversation with them for, it's about an hour.
If you're watching this, hi guys, we enjoyed our visit with you.
Yeah, it was really neat. We got a chance to chat with them and share with them what we were doing and learn a little bit about them as well. And I'd say dry out, but you know what, in all honesty, our rain gear's not doing too bad.
Yeah.
You recall that video we did about waterproof gear fail. Now, do you remember we
almost everything that I had failed. So I had to improve the level of my rain gear, and I have, and it's good. My boots, my feet were dry. Everything was dry except for there's this one hack that I didn't know about it. You tuck all of your jacket stuff into your rain pants. Pull your pants up over like your Farmer Joe, and it all stays in. Well, I didn't do that.
And then your rain jacket over top
and then
of
your
that.
rain jacket over top of that. So I didn't know that. So everything that I had from like hip level up to my belly button was soaking wet. And this is like my down coat, my riding coat, like my shirt. And like, oh, I did this wrong. So when I'm taking it off, Michael's like, did you not know this? Did you not know how to do this? And apparently I didn't. So, because I just thought he did his, he just looks funny. He hikes his pants all the way up.
But I get like a foot of overlap. So it's pretty good. The water doesn't
Smart
get in.
way to do it.
Well, but in all honesty, so at our fundraiser, one of our friends came up to us and told us how his kid watched our waterproof gear fail video and laughed his face off. He thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
So we can't say that about our current gear. The outside of some of our gear was still a little damp even into late last night, but it was all dry on the inside and we were ready to head off this morning.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was sunny.
It was a beautiful sunny day. It was cold.
We woke up and it was 2 degrees and we thought, we're not leaving just yet. We let it warm all the way up to 4 degrees Celsius before we hit the road.
And then we hit the road.
And, you know, it's a little frustrating sometimes if you have these kind of start and stop days. But today we had a bunch of start and stops at the beginning. It was really neat because the first place we stopped was Thors Well. And, you know, geology. There's a hole in the rocks. When the water comes in, water sprays up through the hole and it sounds like a whale.
It sounds like a whale blowing the water out of his spout. And it had that sound and that spray and it went way up. It was really neat.
It was cool. So I was 3 miles from the hotel. And then we drove along a little bit farther. And then 7 miles from the hotel, we stopped at the Sea Lion Cave.
Yeah.
Now, this cave is reported to be the largest sea cave in America. And I think off the top of my head, the area, the horizontal area is about 2 acres.
It was loud in there because they were all barking, all the sea lions. Sea lions?
Sea lions, yeah. They were
kind of barking and making noise and all that stuff. Yeah.
There were Stellar sea lions and there were California sea lions, I think were the 2 breeds. And we were told there were over 175 in this rookery. And you know what you call a group of sea lions?
A rookery?
Well, that's kind of where they are.
Oh.
One of the names you can call them is a bob.
Is a bob.
Yeah, a bob of sea lions.
A bob of sea lions in a rookery. Wow.
Anyway, it was neat. Apparently it's the only mainland... I can't remember, but if you look right down below, you're going to see all the details. I'll put it in subtitles there. Just go ahead and read it as we're talking.
Okay, yep.
And then we carried on from there, and then we got gas because we forgot to get gas last night, largely because it was raining and we wanted to get inside. And that was another 2 kilometers down the road. So in the first hour and a half, 2 hours of the day, we drove like
travel.
10 miles.
But here's the fun thing for all of you out there that are Pacific Northwesters, or even if you're not and you want to come out and do a road trip, the coast, the Pacific coast, Pacific Northwest is a beautiful place to drive. It's got lots of neat things to stop and see. The places are gorgeous. The vistas are amazing. Lots of places to stop and, you know, look over the ocean and the rocks and some beautiful beaches. We went through the sand dunes. We literally didn't, but we rode next to them. And it's beautiful. This is a wonderful way to have, you know, our first 10 days of our travels is to make our way down the coast and get to see some of these sites because it's going to be a long time before we come back. So we're going to take advantage of it now as we make our way south to see these things. So that are so close to us from where we live.
So we're going to drive the whole length of the U.S., well, not the whole length, most of the U.S. 101, all of it into California. And once we get a little bit farther into California, we're going to switch over to the Pacific Coast Highway. But you recall 6 miles after the gas station what we saw? Well, not so much what we saw, what I was hoping we were going to see. We stopped at the Exploding Whale Memorial Park.
Oh, there's such a thing.
And it was so disappointing because there was no panel, no interpretive site, nothing. It's just a little picture in a parking lot, and that was it. And if all you saw was that, you wouldn't know the whole story. So off the top of my head, the story goes that there was this whale that got beached. and it was a big whale. They couldn't figure out how to get rid of it until some genius at City Hall, I guess, decided that the best way to take care of this was just to blow the whale up. The idea being there'd be nothing left, and the birds would come and pick at it and whatnot. And well, it didn't quite work out that way. They blew it up, and there are these massive chunks of whale everywhere,
Yeah.
making it a whole lot more difficult.
Really
to
gross.
clean
Like
up.
it blew up and sent pieces quite a ways, and people had pieces of whale blubber and bone and shard. And
Oh man! So anyway, if you are at all responsible for the Exploding Whale Memorial Park or the township in which it is located, for the love of it all, put like some sort of little panel or sign so people can appreciate the story. Maybe, I don't know, get it more accurately than we're telling it right now. See, that's what happens when you don't have like a proper signage. So anyway, we motored the rest of the way down the road. We saw the dunes in Oregon, and it's pretty weird to see these massive sand dunes right up against a forest of trees. But we carried on through and ended up finally in Port Orford, which is where we are tonight. So what's next? Angela, do you remember?
Klamath? Redwood forest? Redwood trees?
Yeah, we're going to be in the Redwood National Park.
That's it. That's where we're going.
Tomorrow.
He's the navigator. He's done this his whole life. He's still doing it now.
Man, so the plan was we were going to get down into Redwood National Park, and we were going to turn east and take, I forget, like Bob's Road or something. And it was going to go up elevation and wind along the ridge of a series of mountains, end up going through Happy Camp and up to Wairika. And I was excited because this was going to be the first really ambitious, challenging road of our trip. Certainly not as challenging as roads we're going to see much later in the trip, but I mean, relative to what we've been riding. But I've been looking at the weather, and the night we were going to be in Happy Camp, it was going to be below freezing with precipitation. And the last thing we want to do is end up stuck in Happy
up in the
Camp.
mountains in this place called Happy Camp, and it's going to be expensive accommodation, so we decided to bail on it and stick to the coast.
Yeah. Now, no offense to Happy Camp, maybe it's an awesome place, but we didn't look forward to the idea of being stuck for a few days until the snow or the ice melted and went away. So we stuck instead to the coast, and that's why we're going to head down. We're going to be this weekend in Fort Bragg, California, and then head on down. We've got a bunker biker lined up for Santa Rosa. Thank you very much, Jeff. We're going to carry on from there, end up in San Francisco within the next week or so. So that's about it. But I can't leave off without thanking John. Today we met John at Mr. Ed's.
John Huddle, with two, I think, nieces.
His law school roommate's daughter and her friend, who are themselves on a road trip down to San Fran and LA.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were finishing up supper and getting ready to leave, he leaned over and asked us if those were our bikes outside. Had a quick chat, told him about the Twonie project, and he was excited about what we're planning to do, and he chose to donate some money to help the cause. So, John, if you're watching, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Keep an eye here, and you'll get a chance to see how we spend that money. So that's it, I think. Did I miss anything?
No, that was more than enough.
It was
a lot.
All right. Well, we'll leave you here now. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.